Good morning. I'm the celebrant today. My name is Cliff Stockwell, and on behalf of the family, I welcome you all here. The family hopes that you can stay after the ceremony for light refreshments and conversation. Today, we are here to say farewell to Marion Stevens. She leaves her husband, Brian, and sons, Lee and David. Her parents, Charlie and Brenda Walters, also Brian's parents, Dean and Rebecca Stevens, are here today as well. Marion faced cancer bravely, but her suffering was evident. Brian, Lee and David have all been terribly affected by her experience, as have all of the family. Marion was diagnosed with cancer just 2 years ago. It came out of a clear sky with no warning. Everything that could have been done has been done, but now the condition has raced away. She is gone, and we're all left wondering just how and why such a thing could happen. Neither we nor the medical profession has any answers. One small consolation is that Marion volunteered for any new treatments. If they will help me, that's wonderful, she said, but whatever happens, it may help someone else in the future. That was her attitude. She had a marvelous way of dealing with life, taking on challenges and dealing with them in the best way she knew. So today we'll hear from many people who were her friends. But first, we would like to start with a reading that was chosen by Marion in conjunction with her friend, Isabel.
When you lose someone you love, life will change. You rearrange, and everything around you seems so strange. The world will spin in the wrong direction. You will feel alone and want affection. Your appetite changes. You may not sleep. You don't feel like talking to anyone you meet. But as time goes on, things will get better and everything just comes together. And just because you smile, it doesn't mean you don't care, because you know in your heart that they will always be there.
Thank you, Isabel. So we're now going to learn more of the life of Marion Stevens, and we'll start with her good friend, Lisa Manning. Now, Lisa and Marion met in early childhood, in fact from infancy. Lisa's mother and Marion's mother were friends, and their friendship really blossomed. Lisa Manning. Thank you, Lisa. Marion also loved her garden. Trees and vegetables alike received her care and attention, and Donna Pryor shared that love with us. And she wants, in her words, to spill the beans about what really happened down at the garden club. Thank you, Donna, and there are more reflections to be heard later in the time. But to lose a loved one is so hard. Marion, Brian, Lee and David had only 2 years from the initial diagnosis to the end of her life. It was unfair, it should never have happened, but it did. They all had to adjust at a fierce pace. At first, she managed to maintain health, and that's when they all decided to make the most of the time available. How they managed it, only they will know. But the process that they have gone through has tempered them. It could have broken them, but it has not. Marion had some wonderful sayings. People are like tea bags. You never know how strong they are till you put them in hot water. The water here was scalding, and they have proven themselves to be very strong indeed. Brian is a man who feels he can better express himself through the written rather than the spoken word. He's asked that I read this letter which he has written to Marion. Dear Marion, you are the person I love above all others in this world. My life changed the day we met. I took a while to recognize that, but I realized I was only marking time. I know exactly when I changed. Commitment phobia was cured at that instant. We were old-fashioned in a way, but right or wrong, we began to date. To flirt and enjoy being together before becoming engaged. Many of our friends lived together first, then had children, then got engaged, and then got married. I'm glad we followed the path that we did. I was so nervous asking you to marry me, but you made it easy for me, and you said yes. I had no idea what being married really entailed, but although it was sometimes hard work, most of it was just great. I had a lot of figuring out to do. Of one thing, I had no doubt. I was always sure you loved me, and I was absolutely certain I loved you. Every day seemed better than the last. You did make sure I was properly under control before you got me started on dancing. I was shy enough to hide behind the real men don't dance routine, but you knew I could never resist you for long. I also learned that it doesn't really matter what other people think. I was self-conscious, but knowing I was the envy of most of the other men in the room soon put that out of my mind. Yes, I was bloke enough to take pride in that. It was not that I had any form of ownership, but that you had freely chosen to be with me. I was so humbled when you became pregnant. All that responsibility being transferred to you, a responsibility that you alone could carry. I was a spectator, a vitally interested spectator, but a spectator nonetheless. It was an amazing experience for me. I sometimes wish I could share the discomforts with you, but not really. I have to confess to the bloke-type relief that I was relegated to back rubs and cups of tea and soothing balms and lotions. The boys burst into our lives. They were terrific wee fellows. They dominated me through sleep deprivation, but that's long gone and forgotten. I loved you all, and I loved being a dad, even though I may have endangered their health by some of the food choices I made. Your guidance set us straight. They grew, and we grew with them, and we made plans of what we might do far into the future. There was not much that slowed us down. Lack of finance may have restricted our range, but that was fine. The center of my world was the home we shared. Being with you made even the ordinary things into something special. Chores had a purpose. Doing them meant making time in other parts of the day for us to share. And I'm glad we shared so much. I was looking into your eyes as you told me the diagnosis. I had never seen them like that, wide open in fear and desperation. I felt so sick. You were in wild distress, and I had never felt so helpless. I know I cried, and I kept crying for a long time inside myself. You were the one who recovered first. You were the one who led the way back to some form of control. We told the boys, and they just sat beside you, holding you and looking at me as if I should have been able to do something. A second sick wave swept by. I felt absolute abject terror. There was absolutely nothing fair about this. Together we found a way to talk about the future. We had no real choices to make. The doctors had offered no realistic hope of reprieve. The testing regime was offered and accepted. All the treatments were accepted, no matter how small the chance of success. Setbacks and small victories became our normal. We grew even closer as the barriers went down. We planned the short term, we enjoyed each day, and modified the goal if there wasn't enough energy that particular day. You did not want pity. You did not want to be dependent. You did not want to leave us. It all passed beyond our control. We sat with you, we held your hands, but we couldn't keep you. You are lost to us, and so we will help each other, and we will always love you. Brian, Lee, and David. We will now take a moment of reflection before the committal. Marion knew the love of a strong family. She left this life far too early. We grieve for her, and we share the load that has been laid on those left behind to mourn her. Marion, go with the love and respect of all who knew you. Go now. We commit your body to be cremated.